Oh man, I gotta turn this thing. I want to show my face because I'm embarrassed. Here, I'll roll this up. And now it's nondescript. It's a nondescript house. All right. Well, it's the Brian Show. It's a show that normally airs with all the bells and whistles right now at Wednesday at 8 p.m., but I don't have all my equipment with me today. So I am using the built-in laptop. Oops, I just muted it, and I hope it works. So you're going to be with me while I do a few things because, well, I got shit to do, and I want to do a show, but I got to cook some food, and I got to change out some dishes, and there's all kinds of things I got to do. But you're probably going to be listening to this, not watching it, so I hope it sounds good. And if it doesn't, I apologize. But we'll still have fun. We'll still have a good time. Might be a little echoey, and I don't have my music with me today, but that's okay. And if it sounds like I'm getting farther away from you, well, it is. You know why? Because this is real life. So today's the 4th, 17th show. I didn't do one last week, like I promised you I wouldn't. And why didn't I do one last week? I can't remember what. I had something going on. But either way, I don't have my equipment this week, but I wanted to do a show because I didn't want to go 2 weeks without a show. And so, so here we are. You can look me up, the Brian Show Live at gmail.com. Brian Show, I think it's Live 2 or Brian Show 2 at on Twitter. But and normally you can live chat with these things, but not today. So, so there's been a few things going on in my life. We're getting ready to move. That's been a pain in the fucking ass. You're dealing with lots of different variables. You're dealing with people that want to complain about every little thing about your house, and then you're dealing with people that want to they want you to use their services to move, and they just bother you. And so it's a process. It's a process, but it's getting done. So there might be a couple weeks where I am not able to live stream, or I might do something like this. I don't know, but I'm here, and I can't believe I've done 17 of these things, and it's been a real learning experience. So I've been thinking a lot about kind of my family issues, and it's been something that I have given lots of thought about too, but it's also specifically like dealing with alcoholism and my own issues with alcohol, such as they are, and whether it's amplified by how by whether I am susceptible to alcoholism, whether I'm, because there are people in my family that definitely are. And I was driving home today from work. I was Well, back up. My brother, so we had a birthday party for my brother, and my other brother couldn't come because he was too drunk, and he didn't want to drive over there, which kudos to him for not wanting to do that. But I think it was more not because he didn't want to get on the road and endanger people, but because he physically couldn't do it. And you know, that's disappointing, but it doesn't really affect me all that much anymore. Or it might, and I just have not. I have given it I haven't given it enough space in my brain, or I've given it too much, so it becomes I've just thought about it so much and processed it that it is. That's my dog. He's got a little cough, but he takes pills for it, so he's okay. And so it bothered me, obviously, but it wasn't anything unexpected. But when I get stressed out, the first thing I want to do is retreat. I want to run away, not physically, but more along the lines of, I wish I'm stressed out. I can get through it. I'm not the eat the marshmallow kind of person, but I do like to think about escape in the sense of being a person that is that I think I handle stress fairly well, but I could probably handle it better sometimes. And part of it, what I'm getting at, is that when I'm stressed out, I want to drink. Now, I think one thing that sets me apart from other people is I have enough, or I should say functioning alcoholics, is that I have enough foresight to realize that if I have a drink and I have to do something in the morning, or I have a drink in order to escape, I wake up feeling like crap, and I know that, so I don't have the drink, but also it doesn't fix anything. And I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I've been lucky enough to realize after I made the same mistake 10 times, I usually learn from it. And drinking is one of those type of mistakes. Not that I don't drink, but I don't drink every day, and I make it a point not to drink every day. Now, with that said, I'm going to have drinks with my buds tomorrow as kind of a going away thing, but I don't normally drink on Wednesdays. I usually save my drinking for Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and not always Thursday. But my wife is out of town, and I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to have a drink, so-and-so." And I thought, that sounds great. I'm going to go on home. I'm going to whip me up a cocktail. I'm going to sit outside with the dogs, and I'm going to, and my original plan was to go to the gym, which I didn't do. Not for any reason, except I got home too late. I'll go tomorrow. Get off my ass. Get off my back. But so I caught myself, and I thought, well, why do I want to drink? Because I'm not really escaping anything, but it's more of a FOMO, fear of missing out, and wanting to connect on that level as somebody that has, is able to have a drink with somebody and relax. But the person I want to have a drink with is, out of state. So I was able to have some foresight and say, well, if I have a drink tonight, it's not going to be that great. I'm going to feel like crap in the morning, and I may not get up and go for a run. And then the rest of my day I'm going to feel all I say squidgy, but basically just not optimal. And so I came home and thought, well, I'm going to do a Brian show. I was thinking about ways without my computer to do one. And I actually tried to do it with YouTube, but you have to have, via mobile, you have to have 1,000 followers, which I don't. And so I can't do it mobily for some reason. So I did the next best thing and set up a laptop and going the way I'm going now. But so that's kind of what's been going on. Oh, that was my cat. I don't know if you heard that. My cat just is meowing. It's about dinner time for them. But, I'm not there yet. I was going to go grab something. But so that was me doing the dishes. I haven't done all of them. I got a couple more I got to put in. Here's a life tip. Don't leave dishes in the sink. Just switch them out every day. Don't let them stack up overnight, because when you come out in the morning, it's just going to mess with you emotionally that there are all these dishes. That inevitably you're going to have to deal with them. So may as well just do it when you have a few minutes at night. And it's you can listen to music, or you can talk to your significant other, or you can do whatever. But it's a good practice to get into. So I've been Super Tuesday was yesterday, and we all know how that went. But regardless of who the nominee is, I have the sneaking suspicion that Donald Trump is going to win again, and that really saddens me. It makes me mad because I think he sucks. But when you talk to people who say, when you ask them, why do you support this guy? He's a liar. He's arguably in bed with the Russians. He's committing treason. He lies about everything. I think that's the biggest thing. He's not smart. He doesn't read. He doesn't. He fills his cabinet and people around him with toadies, and he thinks he knows everything. And those are all bad qualities to have as a leader. And so he has received and maintained the support of the evangelical community. And I don't have any evangelical friends that I know of. If I do, they're very good about, or they're very under the radar and nondescript about it, and I don't know. But I do have people that I know that I'm acquainted with, that I've known for a long time, that are basically parents' friends, that are evangelical. And of course, they're super right-wing, and they spread some conspiracy theory stuff, but not a lot. But whenever you ask them, or their ilk, why do you support this guy? He's everything he's antithetical to being a Christian in every single respect. They say, well, you call him a racist, and they say, well, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I would not vote for a racist, which I don't know where the race bone is, but everybody seems to not have one. But regardless, I think the standard response is you voted for a racist. But either way, be that as it may, they inevitably say, well, he speaks his mind. I don't like everything he says, and I know he's not a perfect politician. But basically, I don't like everything he says, but he speaks to me. But they usually say something about how I acknowledge he's not a perfect man, but who among us is? So that's the understatement of the year. He is not a perfect man. He is a garbage human being. But whenever I think about presidential candidates, I don't need them to be perfect. I don't need them to be, graduate top of their class at Harvard Law School and, have. I don't even know what perfect means, but they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be experts in foreign affairs and diplomacy, and there is even the best presidents have elements of being politicians, not just good leaders. And the worst ones only have elements of being a politician. And Donald Trump pretends he's not a politician, but he is. But I don't need them to be perfect. But they got to be better than me. And I know that's a low bar, but I'm a reasonably smart person. I'm reasonably well educated. You put me anywhere, I'm right in the middle of the pack. I'm not at the bottom, not at the top, unless it's Simpsons trivia, seasons 1 through 8 or 9. Then I might be near like the top middle, but certainly not the top. And I'm okay with that because there are billions of people in the world. Everybody has their contribution. They can, the thing that they contribute, they do really well in their own group of people. But you can't be the best. Most people aren't the best to everybody in the world at one thing. And that's fine. I'm doing okay. But the president needs to be better than that. The president needs to have a grasp of foreign policy. The president needs to be well educated. The president needs to know how to speak and extemporaneously, and give a speech, and be well versed in world affairs, and be well versed in policy. And that's what politics is. Now, what you believe, where you fall politically, and how well versed or how well educated you are on certain issues, and where you fall on the spectrum is different than having knowledge about them and understanding them and disagreeing with them or advancing one agenda over another. That's just the nature of the beast. But the president must be at least better than me. And I'm in the middle. We all know, we all know that there are people that are worse off than me and you, and people that are less educated than me and you, and have less privilege. I know that's a loaded term, but it's true. Have less privilege and less understanding of the basic world. And President Trump is, and the Republicans in general, they exploit that. And so when it's a race for the bottom, Trump is there. Trump has already crossed the finish line, and he did the second he ran for president. He made the decision to run for president. So he's already at the finish line, waving people in, at the bottom. And in this scenario, I guess the bottom is where you win the race. I don't know. We're going to win this race. Oh, you want some lemonade? Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. I don't know. We got to win. Elvis, we got to win this race. We got to win this race. And so Donald Trump and his ilk and his lackeys are all incredibly stupid people. Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, smart guys that have stupid ideas and are following a stupid man. But they realize that but that's the wagon that's the horse they pitched their wagon to. But the president needs to be somebody that is better than that and better than most people, not all people, but I think a good leader is somebody that says, I don't know everything. I know more than most people, but I don't know everything. And so I'm going to hire, or I'm going to employ, or I'm going to utilize people that are better than me. And you hopefully don't have a Iago situation where the people that are better than you are poisoning you against your family, or in this case, the country, or the uncle from Hamlet, whose name escapes me. See, if I was at the top and I was a Shakespeare scholar, I'd be able to rattle that off. I'd be like, well, Act 2, Scene 3, it's not Polonius, right? It's not Polonius. It's I can't remember his name. I'll have to go look that up. But anyway, bottom line, you need to be better than most Americans. But I think the trick is you don't want most Americans, because Americans are jealous about everything, and we think that there's no better country in the world, when there are lots of better countries than the United States, but they work on a much smaller scale. We just have so many fucking people that we're not as heterogeneous or homogeneous as some of these countries. So you have a lot more people, a lot more ideas, which in some cases is good. There's a lot of variety, but on the other hand, we don't have universal health care, which is a measure by which I measure countries, and so Sweden has a lot fewer people. They have better social safety net, but they have a lot fewer people. So you couldn't transplant 350 million people. Anyway, I'm getting off track. What I'm saying is you don't want to, as a presidential candidate, you don't want to be, you don't want Americans to think that you think you're better than them, but they want you to be better than them, but they don't want to acknowledge it. And I think that's where some Democrats get hung up, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because if you have an idea about something and you know about it, and you're smart, it just happens to collide with with somebody's worldview, they're always going to think you're arrogant or stupid, or both. And so if you have really conservative people and you start talking about gun control or universal health care, they don't stop to realize that the people that they're voting for are not voting in their best interest, but in the best interest of the legislators' pockets. But it's very emotion driven, and so my president. So getting back to my main topic is that I think the president needs to be better than most Americans, but can't let America know that they're better than them. And that's a tricky thing. Obama didn't quite pull it off. He was better than most Americans. He was smarter. He knew more than most Americans about a lot of things. And he surrounded himself with very smart people and not just lackeys and toadies. But, and I don't know if there's anything he could have done about it. People thought he was arrogant, and people thought that he was a know-it-all. And whereas George Bush was your friend and Bill Clinton was your friend, for some reason everybody thought that Barack Obama, not everybody, but I've heard, if you listen to talk radio or just listen to how conservatives talk about him, that he thinks he's, the best. And they think he's arrogant and whatever. Although Trump is the most arrogant person I've ever seen in my life. But either way, he acts like he's better than them, but somehow it doesn't matter. And so Obama had it, but he obviously couldn't please 50% of the electorate based on poll numbers. But he squeaked by enough to win the presidency twice. And he seems to be doing okay for himself. But I think Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden is smart. He's more of a politician than Bernie. Bernie, I just think, chaps people's asses by his accent and him being a Northeastern super liberal. And he's not a socialist. He says he's a democratic socialist. He just wants universal health care and some, student loan forgiveness. What's wrong with that? I'll take some increased taxes by a little bit to help out a lot of people, but that's just communistic thinking, isn't it? So that's my story. I don't really have much of a transition. Let me check my notes app. I had a notes app with things to talk about. I wrote ideas about moving. I don't know what that means. Ideas about moving. What the hell was I talking about? I really don't know. Oh, well. I had something about Pavarotti. Let's see. I wonder if I can mute the camera or just the microphone. I don't know. Well, let me see. There was I know what it was. No, sorry, not Placido Domingo. He has been not charged, but he's been accused of sexual harassment. Let's see. I'm trying to find the article I read, so bear with me. Okay. Placido Domingo apologizes for hurt he inflicted on sexual harassment accusers. This is from CBS News, updated February 25th. An investigation into legendary singer Placido Domingo by the U.S. Union representing performers
found more than 24 people who said they were sexually harassed or witnessed inappropriate behavior by the superstar when he held senior management positions at Washington National Opera and Los Angeles Opera, according to people familiar with the findings. One of the probe's results prompted the first apology from Domingo for his actions. The investigation conducted by lawyers and hired by the American Guild of Musical Artists concluded that the count from 27 people showed a clear pattern of sexual misconduct and abuse of power by Domingo, spanning at least 2 decades, according to those who spoke to the Associated Press, on condition of anonymity, because they were not authorized to disclose the findings. Are people familiar with the investigations at Domingo, now 79, has reiterated his denials of wrongdoing to investigators and contended that he did not occupy a position of power over his colleagues and their careers.
So that was part of the, I didn't read the whole thing. I'm just giving you the highlights of the Placido Domingo sexual harassment scandal. Hope you enjoyed that. I think it's time to feed the cats, don't you? Well, I'm not going to bore you with that. I've already bored you enough. So I'm going to cut it off early tonight. Thanks for listening. And that's the Brian Show theme song. Maybe I'll stick this in. Maybe you'll actually hear the actual theme song, but I don't know. So until then, have a good night. Bye. Bye.